Good afternoon, everyone. We're Career Advising and Transition Services, or CAS, as we are better known. I'm Rosalia.
I am Olivier Dupiton.
And I'm Valerie.
And we're here today, as promised, to talk about networking during this Facebook Live session. As usual, we welcome your questions. If we see a question light up, we'll just finish our thoughts with what we're talking about, and then we'll answer your question. Of course, if you're watching this after the fact, feel free to still post questions on the Facebook page, and we will definitely get back to you with those as well. So whether you answer live or whether you ask us live or whether you ask us later, we'll definitely answer. So we promised that the format would be who, what, where, when, why, and how. So the 5 W's and the H of networking. So we'll start with what. That's a good place to start. Well, I'm going to take the Webster Dictionary definition. So it is the exchange of information or services among individuals, groups, or institutions, specifically the cultivation of productive relationships for employment or business. So that's a pretty good definition. That's exactly what networking is. And we hear that it's a buzz term too, right? You hear it all the time and in every context. And today we're going to give some more explanations on what it is and how you should use it. But in a nutshell, that's what it is. It's fostering relationships for business purposes, for finding employment, one of the very important ones, and for other aspects of your work as well. So it doesn't mean actually when you find a job, if you are working, that you should stop or not networking, because you should continue doing that throughout. So that's just common good practice, especially these days. And I have a stat that is of interest. 60 to 80% of jobs in Canada are still found through networking. So that's an enormous amount of jobs. And if you're not networking in the ways that we talk about, you're missing out on many opportunities. So we don't want that to happen. So now I think Olivier's going to tell us who, when,
and where.
And
yes,
where.
so I'll be answering to those questions: who, where, and when. I guess the simple answer is anyone, anywhere, anytime, right? Maybe if I could stop right now, I could just easily say anywhere, anyone, anytime. But let's take a look in who. So if we want to define it, we can split it into targeted networking and untargeted networking. And targeted networking is networking people that you know, people that you want to approach. And we often call this informational interviews, where you can take a look at a profile on LinkedIn, or you can take a look at someone that is doing the job that you want, and then you reach out to that person to look for insight. But it's really an opportunity for you to get the information from those people, but two is to plant some seeds. So not only you are getting the information that you need about company's culture, about insight on this industry, but one thing that you will do is plant seeds, and you never know what can happen. So that is the targeted networking. Quickly, if we want to talk about untargeted networking, is what you do every day at school, at work, in the metro, in the elevator. You get to meet people, and what we like to say is networking is not a transaction. It's not something that you do for the purpose of finding a job only. You network, you build relationship, you nurture those relationships, and then eventually something good will happen. Okay, so my advice is really take it lightly, meet people, be genuine, follow up, be interested in what they tell you, take notes so you can remember, and when you follow up or when you offer something, that's what nurturing with a relationship is. And through that, you're just doing everyday normal stuff that can eventually help you find opportunities. So this is really, if we want to answer the question who, we are talking about targeting networking and untargeted, and where and when, anytime, anywhere. So it could be at school, it could be at work, at the metro. You have an opportunity to meet a professional or anyone. Your value proposition, your perfect pitch needs to be ready. So when they tell you, so tell me about yourself, this is your opportunity to shine. This is your opportunity to differentiate yourself and make yourself memorable. And if you want to know more about that, we do have those workshops where we get to spend time teaching you how to define your perfect pitch, your value proposition, and then how to use LinkedIn to help you to network better. Okay, so I think we do have a workshop, our last workshop on LinkedIn, the power of LinkedIn, this Saturday from 10 to 1. So if you are interested, we will post the link in the comment section so you can click and register for it. But who, where, and when, it's, anyone, anytime, anywhere. Have your value proposition ready and then go for it.
And I think that's important to note, because sometimes we'll go to networking events and you think, well, it's a networking event, so clearly networking must be part of it. Well, of course, that's a dedicated and targeting network event, but everywhere and everyone and everything, as Olivier said, is a networking opportunity. So let's say, Olivier, if you're at a dinner party and it is not a professional context, it's a bunch of friends and friends of friends, is it okay to bring up what you do at work and to maybe try to network in that context?
Well, to me, you are always networking. I think when you meet people, you just being normal, you just talking, but you get when they ask you what you do, tell me about yourself. It's an opportunity for you to bring forward who you are, and then attached with what you do and what the value that you bring. So that's really it. It's really not overthinking it and say, am I going to talk about my career at a dinner with family? But then there is someone that works at BMO or a different company that sits at the table. So if you can say something memorable about yourself, then that's going to intrigue a conversation with that next person. So that's how I would approach it.
Yeah, and I think Olivier made a perfect point there. It's not, oh, I must be in networking mode now. I'm at a networking event or I'm at a dinner. No, being authentic. And this is why some people, I think, fear networking events, because they think they got to go put on their professional hat and completely change their personality because they're in a serious professional context. But being authentic is a lot more important than trying to put on the air of someone who is professional. I'm assuming you are professional. And by very definition, by the fact that you are working or looking for work, you are professional. So just be yourself. And as Olivier said, don't get lost in your thoughts about, is this networking, is this not networking? You just should always be in networking mode. That should just be your modus operandi all the time. And as Olivier mentioned, if somebody says, so Valerie, tell me about yourself, we don't want Valerie to just list off her qualifications. We want her answer to be a gem, a couple of sentences that not only differentiate her from other people, but make her shine. And so this is why, as Olivier talked about, having a value proposition or a perfect pitch that is uniquely you is really important to establish and to work on. And this is fluid too. It's not like you create one and that's it for the rest of time. As you evolve, so should your perfect pitch and your value proposition. So I think we have some comments and questions here.
I think it's from Ben Zen.
Okay.
He said, hello, CATS teams. Thank you for this topic. Very, very, very useful. And I'm interested to know, where is Ben Zen messaging us from? But anyway, this is not a question. So we'll thank you very much for the message, Ben. If you can write where you messaging us from, that would be interesting.
And feel free, if you have a question, to answer us. And that's for all of you listening out there. So now we know the what, we know the who, we know the when, and we know the where. Here's a really interesting question. Why?
Why networking?
Why networking? So, I mean, I think a lot of people feel intimidated by networking. Hence, especially if you're really shy or really reserved, you're more likely to not necessarily want to put yourself out there. But networking is absolutely important. It's a crucial part of not only your personal development, but your professional development as well. I think they say there's 6 degrees of separation between you and the person you actually want to speak to. So the more people that you know, the more likely that positive things are going to happen for you, because you never know what one connection could lead to. It could lead to an introduction with your next employer. It could lead to another introduction to your future business partner. So there's all these possibilities and opportunities that exist within networking. Another reason why people network is to get a job, right? We're always looking for opportunities, looking for that next big break. They say that 60 to 80% of most new hires got their jobs through networking. So through referrals, through someone that they knew that thought they would be perfect for that job, which goes back to having your perfect pitch ready, to having your elevator pitch so people understand the value that you bring as a professional. Another reason why people network is just to broaden your horizons. Find out more about your industry, meet other people in the same field or in a different field. It always brings value not only to yourself, but to your personal work as well. I mean, we do this all the time. It sparks up event ideas, it sparks up potential partnerships. So the more people you speak to, the more people you connect with, they exist not only just in terms of job search, but in terms of your work and the way you operate. It brings a lot of possibilities and ideas. So get out there, get networking, and meet as many people as possible. Another reason why people network, Olivier mentioned it in terms of informational interviews. So if you're transitioning, let's say you've been working in accounting for several years and you have an interest in HR all of a sudden, especially using LinkedIn and connecting with HR professionals and having these informational interviews and find out what it's like to work in HR today. Find out what it's like, what does it take to get into the industry? What is a regular day like? Asking those questions. It's through networking that you get this information. I think, yeah.
Very, very good points, Valerie. You mentioned 4 of them, and I like to take the networking and make it simple as possible and put it in a human way, the most humanly possible, because everyone is networking.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, who is your network? Your network is your family, is your classmates, is your coworkers, is people that you meet. So at all time, even if this term is something that frightens you, but you are doing it. If you just see it as creating relationships, build those relationships, and nurture those relationships, this is what networking is. So you are actually always doing it. But now understand that the value that it can have, because through your network, you can have a lot more information on your industry. You can create more visibilities for yourself so you can have more opportunity. So you need to take the time to get your value proposition needs to be ready, needs to be planned and prepared so it can flow out of your mouth when you meet someone at any time. Okay, so it is a term that frightens a lot of people, but they are actually networking at all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so it's just to give you credit that you are doing it, you've done it, and you will continue to do it.
That's a really good point, because if you think, well, I don't need to network, I'm going to look for a job in the traditional way, or I'm already working and so I don't need to do this. But as Olivier said, guess what? You're already doing it, so you might as well do it well. You might as well learn the most effective way of doing it. You might as well get comfortable with it, because since you're doing it anyway, even though that may not be your intention, by the very fact that you talk to people every day, you are networking. So it's important to put a little thought behind it then. What am I putting out there when I'm networking? What is it that people see? What messages am I saying? And that's why the value proposition is important. Now, Valerie, you brought up that even if, I think you even used the term shy, or if you might be shy and you think networking is just too intimidating for me. Do you have any tips for people on what they might do? Let's say they're going to a networking event. How might they prepare if they're shy, or what they might do to ease into that event?
I think one thing that you should take comfort in is I think a lot of people are shy about networking, especially if you go to an event where you don't really know anyone. Let's say, for example, it's a San Cassette, it's an industry event. Most of the people in the room don't really know each other. So there's that common ground, and it's as simple as saying, hi, what brought you here? That sparks up a conversation, and mostly just being yourself. I think that fear of being judged and fear of, okay, I'm going to sound stupid if I say this. It's really some of the things that we do to psych ourselves out and make us more nervous than we need to be. Just remember that everyone is human. People want to know who you are. They want to find out more about you. And you should show an interest in other people as well. It's not just about what am I going to say, it's what am I going to hear as well from others.
Yes.
That's a really good point. So listening, if you are shy, do more listening at the beginning than you do speaking. Who doesn't like to be listened to? Everybody loves to be listened to. So you can, as Valerie said, ask a simple question, do more of the listening until you get comfortable, and then you can talk. But the other thing that Valerie mentioned, which is so important, is it's in your mind to say, I'm at a networking event, let me think about what I'm going to say, let me edit what I would normally say. No. If you consider, hey, I'm at a cafe, or I'm at a friend's house and I'm talking to people, it's no different. While the subjects you bring up might be a little different, the approach should be the same. And as we all mentioned, the approach being your authenticity, your ability to listen and take interest in other people. It's just a dialogue, but we put in our minds that it's something bigger.
Yes, well, if I can add something regarding the question that you asked Valerie, and Valerie did a great job answering in the moment what you should be doing, like how you should if you are shy, right? What do you do? If you want to know more, we do show you guys, show students, show anybody that comes to our workshops how to break the ice, how to introduce yourself, how to, to those nerve-wracking moments, how to kind of overcome them. And we have a networking bootcamp and brunch that we are, hosting December 8th that will really teach you how to do that. And at the moment, I want to highlight a few of our events, and it's really not to sell you what we do, but for example, Valerie eventually will tell you a little bit more about the events that we have at the Technicolor for the focus on Thursday. But all the events that we put together, regardless if it's an event in your field, it is definitely an opportunity to network. You will meet different professionals that have, you work in marketing, but you meet John from finance. Wherever John is working, they have a marketing team. He also has connections. So it's, you coming to those events and us putting them together, those events for our students, they are a great opportunity for you to get out of your comfort zone, meet all types of professionals, and if you don't go for it, it's not going to come to you.
Absolutely. And sometimes, most of the times at our events, we have people who are not SCS students. So you really don't know, you could be meeting people you would otherwise really not run into. And if you're still worried, now that you've seen us on your screen, you know who we are. If you come to a networking event and you don't know who to speak to and you're a little bit shy, well, start with us. Seek us out and come speak to us. You know at least 3 people now, so there's no excuse for you not to be at our events. But seriously, we have received so much feedback on the connections that people have made at our events. And that's aside, we have many reasons why we put on events, and one of them, or one of the most important anyway, is the opportunity to network. And we always build in some networking time at our events for this very purpose. So again, the 3 of us, we look forward to speaking to you, and then you'll see how easy it is to talk to us, and you can go talk to the next person. And by the way, we were laughing before, if you might have noticed we were laughing, because I'm a little bit spontaneous, and sometimes I throw that on my colleagues. So, but you know what? They can pick up and run with it. So can you. So when you get a question that you're not expecting, you can run with it. I mean, friends ask you questions you're not expecting all the time. So just use the same approach, right? So now, Valerie, you said you were going to talk about some of our events that are coming up, and November's really loaded in our calendar.
Yes, November is extremely loaded. So if you're looking for networking opportunities, definitely check out our website to see our list of activities. The upcoming one is this Thursday, November 15th, which will be taking place at The Focus. The Focus is a recruitment agency for a few of the film studios that are here in Montreal, such as Technicolor, Mr. X, MPC Film. There's quite a few. So they represent a lot of different brands, and they're actually hiring for all of those brands. So when you think about a movie, you know, those blockbusters you like to watch, there's an accounting department, there's a finance department, there's a marketing and HR department behind these films, and they're looking for you. So check out our website, register, and we hope to see you there.
And Valerie, what are some of the movies that have come out of, because this, what people might not know is just how big the film industry is in Montreal, not just for the actual filming, but now production as well. What are some of the movies that have come out of that?
They've got quite a few. I think recently they released a trailer. They contributed to the new Pikachu movie. For those of you who have kids or just like Pokemon in general, yes, they're behind it. So if you want to get into the industry, that's where you need to be on Thursday. They also did Gladiator, the classic film Gladiator, so the VFX and special visual effects. The Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water.
The Shape
I love
of Water.
That movie,
if you haven't seen it, you've got to check it out.
Absolutely. And now you know it's got a Montreal connection, so it's even more interesting. What's great about that type of event is, if you might see it on first glance, as Valerie said, you think, well, I'm not in the film industry. Great. If you're in accounting, HR, marketing, and you'd like to work somewhere outside the box, you don't necessarily want to work in an accounting firm or a bank, or this is your opportunity to work in a very creative field, even if your field is accounting, which I don't mean to discredit any accountants. Accounting is not exactly the most creative field. And if you want to send me hate mail, feel free to do that right here on Facebook. But you know what I mean. It's not typically creative, yet you can take these positions, and if you work in a creative field where it's a whole different role that you would be occupying there. So it's actually interesting for very specific reasons. And you never know. I mean, how fun would it be to work at a company that then produces a film like The Shape of Water? That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for telling us about that, Valerie. And we hope to see you all there. It should be fun. It's actually going to be at their premises, right?
Yes.
So we get to see their location.
Yeah, and where you could potentially be working. So
yeah, so it's nice to get an in-depth look of where your next job might be. So what other events are coming up, Valerie?
Ooh,
busy month.
Quite a few. So we have soft skills workshops that we newly launched this semester. So this Saturday we have the wonderful Nancy Levesque.
Yes, that's right.
Who will be hosting a workshop on self-confidence, the key to business.
Yes.
The key to success.
Sorry, the key to your business success.
There
Absolutely,
we go.
No,
yes.
That's it.
So, I mean, we all have moments where we doubt ourselves. We're not sure of our capabilities. You're about to walk into an interview and you start second guessing yourself. Nancy is going to show us how to harness the power of self-confidence for you to achieve your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nancy is fantastic. She's gracious enough to come and talk to our students and to have this important workshop. And usually she coaches CEOs and business heads in Canada and Europe. So it's really your opportunity to come to this workshop for it's just $10, and that's because Nancy's, as I said, very gracious to offer this. I hope to see all of you there. Even if you think and you are self-confident, it doesn't mean that you won't learn a lot at this workshop. It's for people who really need help in their self-confidence or think that they're lacking in self-confidence to people who have all the confidence in the world. It is equally beneficial. So we really hope to see you there, and we'd like to thank Nancy for offering that workshop. But you know, I was just reading an article, and we were talking about this before, that 40% of the reason that employers say that a candidate did not work out, 40% of the time it's due to a lack of soft skills. And soft skills is basically how you interact with other people. So it could be your interpersonal skills, your overall emotional intelligence, your self-confidence, which is why we'd like to see you on Saturday, your public speaking skills, your basic writing skills. So imagine that 40% of candidates that don't work out, it's due to these skills. And what's great about these skills, it's, yeah, some people might be naturally better at them than others, but they're all skills that you can enhance, improve, learn, continuing evolving in. So that's the reason we have these workshops. Olivia, could you see that comment there? Because I'm having trouble reading from this angle.
We have a comment there. Cheryl, give us thumbs up. We
Okay,
have
thumbs up.
thank you, Cheryl. You know, Charlie thinks it's funny. It is interesting. We have a lot of confidence, but we are sweating as well. So
Yeah.
so feel free. It's okay to be vulnerable. Amine, hello. I'm happy to see you again. You guys are doing a great job. Thanks a lot. Well, thank you, Amine.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, yes.
See, she's someone we see at our workshops. So see, she's a friend. So now she knows she can come see us at any event and talk to us, and we'll be very happy to talk to her, right?
Yeah.
So this is what, when we talk about a community, when we say CATS as a community, we're quite serious. So not only do you connect with us and then we're part of your community, but it's the connections that are made between students and other people that it's really, I think, adds a lot to people's not only job search, transition, just whatever experience they're going through. Know that you have a community that starts with us, but certainly doesn't end with us.
Yes.
And speaking of community, I think I'll just mention the last two soft skills workshops, the public speaking. So there'll be a weekday option and a Saturday option. I don't know if you know the dates.
Yes, it will be December 1st.
Yeah.
December 1st and
And then December 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay, so December 1st, December 3rd, you have two options. So improving your public speaking skills, your presentation skills, and also that confidence when you're standing in front of people and how to speak. And speaking of community, on November 29th, we're very lucky to have 4 dynamic speakers join us, and they'll be talking about influence and leadership, right?
Wow.
How we all have a sphere of influence and how we can make an impact on the next person in our daily lives. So that's definitely an event to be at.
Oh, you really don't want to miss that. And the thing is coming to the end of the term, why not be inspired? And why not inspire? I think, as Valerie mentioned, what we're going to focus a lot on, and what the speakers are going to focus on how everybody has the capacity to lead, and that leading has nothing to do with your title at work, for example, and how everybody has the capacity to positively influence. And so if you're ready to bring that out in you and to discuss it among friends and to network, then we hope to see you at that event as well. 4 incredible speakers, so you won't be sorry, for leaders and influencers in their field and as people in general.
And then in the spirit of networking, December 8th is the networking boot camp, as Olivier mentioned before. So this will get you ready for those Christmas dinners that are coming up. So.
Yes.
This is our last event of the year, so this is a great opportunity for us to close the semester. So please go to our website. We will post our information in the comment section, our calendar for the year, our website, so you can see everything that we are doing. And we are looking forward to seeing you.
Yes, we're absolutely looking forward to seeing you at all those events. If you have any questions, we have an easy way to reach us, and it's through our email, cats@mcgill.ca. So easy to remember. Don't send us your cat pictures, but do ask us your questions about anything related to job search or career, and we'll be happy to answer you, or anything about our events as well.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks, guys.
thanks a lot for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.